To the Crusade Radio Network live coverage of Turning Point USA's America Fest conference. I keep wanting to say America West. Charlie should just change the name to America West. America Fest conference at the Phoenix, Arizona Conference and Convention Center. We are live. We have been live 6 interviews so far today, 11 yesterday. By my count, that's 17. And we are streaming all of ours live. Not recording them for future use, although we will use them in the future, but you're getting it live here. And only here, one of 2 streaming sources at TPUSA today. So tap that subscribe button down there, and then next time we go live, you will be notified via the YouTube notification. I want to introduce our next very special guest. I don't really have to introduce him because all of you Mike Church Show listeners and viewers, you already know Colonel Rob Maness. But you didn't know, you knew Rob before he got the big head, before he got on the big stage next to Charlie and was in front of the 20,000 people yesterday. Probably the biggest crowd
second biggest.
Really? What was the biggest?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Of course I'm going to ask you that.
It was at the Southern Republican Leadership Conference.
What year?
The year I ran for U.S.
So 2014?
Yeah.
2013.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that. We went to the books. She signed our books, and my friend David Kernall was with us. My friend Bill. We all drove over together, and you were there with Sarah. I didn't stay for the conference.
Yeah, that was a huge room. That was my first big audience too.
So this audience is huge. This audience is big.
It's big. You were at the stage on that one was a lot smaller. This stage is the biggest one I've ever watched.
So it's not the same one they used in Detroit?
But I didn't speak there.
Okay, that's right. All right. So you were just talking, our last guest was Cliff Maloney. You and Cliff are buddies.
Yeah, we've known each other a long time. He supported me, Rand Paul and Ron Paul supported me in the Senate races and those kind of things because of my liberty approach. And Cliff, I got to know through when he was president of Young Americans for Liberty. And what I really learned
I didn't know he was at YAL.
Yeah, that's
I did not know that.
He started this tactic called Operation Win at the Door, and he has won something like 400 or more state legislative races.
That's what he said.
By door knocking.
Right.
By door knocking. So I've known him ever since then, and I've been in their training sessions that they've done for candidates and those kind of things, and listened to him as a candidate. So we just we're like minds. So we just stayed in contact with each other and try to help each other out when we can, and those kind of things. And last year he called me and said, "Hey, Rob, we're going to win Pennsylvania." And I said, "What do you mean?" And immediately I said, "I know we have to." And he said, "We're going to knock on 510,000 doors." I said, "How is that going to win Pennsylvania, though?" And he goes, there was 141,000 Republican mail-in ballots left on the table.
That number is
incredible. And the president only lost by 80-something thousand votes. We're going to go out, and we're going to try to improve that and outpace the Democrats' returns by door knocking. And when he said door knocking, that's why I started asking questions, because I know he's a winner.
Right.
In that he's the only Republican winner that I know of that is an expert in large door knocking operations that has a strong record of success like that. And I'm like, all right, man, I'm in. What else is going on? And then he told me they were partnering with Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk, and I've supported Charlie Kirk since he started. Because he's reaching out to young kids, then I've always wanted to do that, but the consultants are always like, "Yeah, but they're not going to vote for you, sir. Don't waste your time on them." Remember that?
Oh, as Trump would
10
say,
years ago?
Yeah, but they're not going to vote. They said, "Sir, they're not going to vote for you. They're not. They're young. They don't care."
Yeah, but they do care. If you'll go talk to them and tell them what your plan is. They do care. So when he told me all that, he told me he was partnering with Turning Point USA and they were going to hit the other swing states. I'm like, I'm in, and I pledged a certain amount of money for both operations. And we actually exceeded the amounts that we had pledged by about $50,000. So the total expenditure for Battleground State ground operations for those guys to chase these ballots was the biggest expenditure we had of that type for Gator Pack, the pack that I started after the 2014.
Well, he gave us the figure. He said he raised $3 million.
Yeah, it cost him $3 million.
$3 million was the number.
Yeah, but we didn't contribute all of that. But it was our contribution was our largest expenditure. We're a small dollar pack.
Kamala lost $2.5 billion. This guy spends $3 million and changes the world.
Unbelievable.
Changes the course of history.
And he knows numbers so well. He said, look, the president lost by this certain percentage. I'm sure he gave you the percentage of the mail-in response.
He did. He did.
And he told me in our conversations, he said, my goal is not to get them all, but to just get him to 33% of those returns.
Well, he knew the number.
Because he was down the president was down, Republicans were down at 20% returns on mail-in ballots in 2020. And I said, okay, $510,000, you're the only person I know that can do it. And I said, okay, we're in. We'll help you as much as we can, specifically raising money for that operation. And you know what? I was at the convention center in West Palm Beach at the election night party all night.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was there reporting from there for my network, Worldview Tube, and as part of the Veterans for Trump Coalition of the campaign's version of it. I was a member of that.
Okay.
So I was there, and I'm getting reports from somebody in the Trump war room and text from Cliff, and I'm like, and Cliff's like, sir, he's going to win Pennsylvania. I'm telling you right now. But it took 4 hours for the media to finally admit it.
He told me
He
told me that he was just sitting in this chair 10 minutes ago that he told Charlie about 80 minutes before Fox News called, and he goes, he's going to win it. We have it. It's over. He's going to win it. He said, Charlie, call it.
I got around
TPUSA should go,
or
or Real America's Voice. You should call it. Just call Pennsylvania. You're going to win it. It's a good call. It's a good call.
Oh, absolutely. And about that same time, I was getting text messages, and I got a text message from my contact that's sitting literally in the Trump campaign's war room, and they're telling me, hey, all the red counties in Pennsylvania are counted. They should be calling this. That was 4 hours before it was actually called.
Yeah.
So Cliff was right.
Well, they were holding
right on the money. Yeah, they were holding out hope that something good would happen for them, like the ballots trucks coming in or something. All that crazy stuff.
Well, I can tell you that because I was there. We stayed up. I'm like, our team, me and Mike Parent, Richard Barrett, and my wife, and our crew back in the studio, and Justin, we were not leaving until Pennsylvania was called, and Trump walked out on that stage and gave the victory speech. But I can tell you that about 2 hours before, and I told Cliff, I said we were watching two counties, and Bucks County was the one. Yeah. I said I said. Don, who works for TPUSA as a fundraiser, who is my numbers guy and my cultural affairs correspondent on the Mike Church show. Yeah. Don's my numbers guy. Don was going, Mike, we're just going to watch Bucks County. Here's the Trump campaign says they got to get 53%. If they get 53% in Bucks County, it's over. He'll win it. So throughout the night, Bucks County was coming in slow.
Oh, of course.
It came in real slow.
Kind of like New Orleans.
She was up. So she was up until about 1 o'clock in the morning, and they got over 60% of precincts reporting in. He finally cracked 50. Yeah. Then he cracked 51, and then around 2 o'clock in the morning, he cracked 53, and it was 85%. And that's when my guy Don's going, it's over. He's going to win it. It's over. They should call it now.
I was telling people in the crowd that I was talking to, I'm like, look, when Pennsylvania's going to go first, I guarantee it. And when Pennsylvania goes before any other swing state's called, somebody in the media is going to call it for Donald J. Trump.
I did.
I know.
You did.
Yeah, but not publicly until Pennsylvania was called.
Right,
know, and within 3 minutes of Pennsylvania being called, Fox News said that Donald J. Trump was going to be the next president of the United States before any of the other swing states came in, because if you could take Pennsylvania, you're going to take them all, baby. And that's exactly what he did, thanks to Charlie Kirk and Cliff Maloney. Scott Pressler, who did a big voter registration campaign.
Yep.
That whole infrastructure that was built by these
young
people that don't vote for Republicans, right? Isn't that what those consultants used to say? They're never going to vote for you.
Well, they did.
Yeah, they did.
An amazing story here. I told Cliff, I said, they're going to make a movie about you, dude. They made a movie called Primary Colors about Clinton's win in 1992, right, based on that terrible book by Anonymous, right?
Yeah.
This story, the comeback story of Trump taking the presidency, it's not just about taking the presidency, Rob. You're a military guy. You served your 25 years. You're small business. You know what it's like to fight and what it takes to stay in a fight, which is hard. It's difficult.
Very hard.
Not only did this guy stay in the fight, I mean, I am so inspired by him because he figured out a way to beat those who beat him.
Yes.
It's a Rocky movie.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
freaking Rocky.
Absolutely,
It's freaking Rocky 4.
All the way from before the beginning. You know, you remember when I announced my campaign, my 3 core issues were in 14 were border security, energy independence, and stop the endless war policies. And everybody, all the Republicans were saying that's it's terrible. Exactly. And then Donald Trump comes down the escalator in 2015, and that's his core issues. And what does he do? He wins on them, and then none of them said he was going to win. And I'm not surprised that he was able to pull this win off again, because you know what? It's still the same core issues, Mike, and it's because the people that have been stealing from the American people in Washington, D.C., of the uniparty, the political parties, the government, the lobbyists, all of that, they're stealing our funding, and those issues are the ones the American people know that if they're fixed, America is fixed, and it's gonna work. And this is just the beginning, though. This was a battle won in a war that is going to be won by people that are younger than Charlie Kirk.
It is a war, and there are battles, and that was a big battle. There's a battle that just got fought 2 days ago, and Mike Johnson was supposed to be here.
I know.
He's not here.
I know.
He ain't come.
I know.
So,
I know, and I love Mike. Like, he's a friend.
He was told by those same young people, "You're not welcome here. You made the deal with the devil." Here's the way I framed it.
Very disappointing.
I want to get your take. Here's how I framed it on Friday's show. Speaker Johnson, what you've done, you have reduced Trump's term from 48 months to 43. If you do this thing that goes to May, he loses 5 months because he has the money's already been spent.
Yep.
They're going to dig their freaking heels in. You are now reduced the presidency down from 48 months to 43 months. For that reason alone, dump the whole thing. Just kill it.
Yeah.
And pretty much X killed it. Elon killed it, basically.
Yeah.
Went on X and killed it. But I didn't see, because I was here, I didn't even know about this feud that happened between Nancy Mace and Posobiec and
I don't even know about that. I know about the fight over the CRs, but
well, apparently the Trump CR got defeated because there was Republican flight off of it. Johnson couldn't hold his own conference. So the one that would have basically averted a debt ceiling increase, which he's trying to avoid, that went down and in flames. So they have nothing now. I don't know what they have. So I don't know what we're. It's Christmas. It's exact. I like Thomas Massey, Nostradamus. Nostradamus said in September, "I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. We're going to be right back here on December the 20th. I'm going to give you the date, and they're going to tell us we have to vote for it because the government's going to shut down, and we're going to ram a 1,500-page bill, and they're going to get the votes, and we're all going to go home, and nothing's going to change."
I love Tom Massey. He's a friend of mine, he's a rocket scientist. But this don't take a rocket scientist to make that prediction, because they were doing that when I started running for office 11, 12 years ago.
That's right.
And you could predict it as well as you can predict sunrise and sunset, man. So, I love that he verbalizes all that stuff, but you don't have to be a rocket scientist like him to figure it out. But and exactly what happened, that's what happened.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
You're in a unique position to discuss something that very few people are, and it's not a happy place for you to be, because you were twice defeated by the Republicans and the Republican Party. Have those people that were responsible for your defeats, are they unemployed now finally? Are they still controlling they've been handed their walking papers, at least in some places.
Yeah. In a lot of places they've been handed their walking papers. Some of them have been convicted.
Good.
And
I know which one you're talking about.
and had their step down. And some of the ringleaders actually apologized to me.
Y'all don't know this, but what they did to this man was it's unconscionable.
And I reserve the right to respond in my own time, just like a warrior should, and on my own terms, and you'll never see it coming is what I'll say to them that are left.
It's the great untold story of electoral politics that the money and the corruption is everything that you imagine that it is, that is for you listening and watching, has been framed for you by good, decent people, is true, and then some. It's worse than they frame it, because they may not want to get close enough to it to actually see it.
Yeah, for a person like me who's got just a stellar public and private record, well documented and everything. I've said it many times since I became in the political arena that what if they don't want you to win, no matter who they are, and they can't find anything on you, and we knew they couldn't because we paid to do an opposition report on myself and my wife, even my kids. There was nothing there. They'll make it up on you, and that's what they did in the final analysis of that last race. That's what they did, is they made stuff up, and unfortunately, the public, the right numbers of the Republic actually believed it. So
what do you think of the I think the future is very young, very bright. There are battles that have to be fought. There are going to be casualties. My position is just offer the enemy no quarter. Beat them until they're like beaten and can't respond. I don't know if you read Posobiec and Joshua Lisek's book on humans, but and folks, if you have it at home and you haven't read it, read the last 2 chapters, because the last 2 chapters is okay. When the commies have been defeated, how did they do it?
Yeah,
you basically have to exile them.
Yes.
You cannot leave them with the ability to respond. What you just said. If you leave them with the ability to respond, they will respond.
Oh, yeah.
And they will return. And they will try and take everything that they've lost in the 60 days. They will try and take it. They will attempt to take it all back. That's what Cliff said.
There's a reason why we made it against the law to be a member of the Communist Party or be a communist to serve in the United States military.
Right.
We made it against the law in the Cold War because we knew that. We've lost that knowledge in large parts of our society and our institutions, like at our universities, and that's where a lot of these communists and Marxists are coming from, that have infiltrated large parts of the United States government, including our U.S. military, and we have to eradicate it as if we were eradicating, like you said, no quarter. There can be no quarter. This president must take the power and wield that power to remove this infestation from all of the United States government, all of our academic institutions, all the way down to the preschool, which is, I've seen it in preschool, in public preschool.
Oh, it's there. It's everywhere.
It's there. And once it's eradicated, it's got to be banished from this land because it's antithetical and incompatible with the Republic and the Constitution that created it. And we've got to get back to that constitutional republic, too, in order to do that. And this president must wield that power. He must appoint people that have the courage to stand up in the breach and wield that power without fear or favor in spite of the consequences. Because you know what? The consequences are nothing compared of what you'll get for the heat you'll get for doing the right thing in this time. Those consequences are nothing compared to what will happen if we lose this war.
There's a fear of being, kids and certain dogs and pets have a FOMO, fear of missing out, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to miss out. There's now a fear amongst Republicans, fear of being primaried.
Yeah.
It's phobia. There's literally phobia, fear of being primaried.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good fear, and I think that they should fear being primaried.
Exactly.
And I also think, going back to to offer them no quarter, somebody asked me, my friend Kurt Wallace asked me, he goes, Mike, what does that mean? What do you mean when you say no quarter? And I say, they have to be deprived of power. Yes. You can't have it's a keg. Yeah. It is a keg of gunpowder, and if you leave it there, they will take the gunpowder out, stuff it into brass shells, and shoot you with it.
Yeah.
You have to remove it. You almost have to make them illegal. Now, you can't make the Democrat Party illegal.
No, but the Democrat Party is ripe for a leader to emerge from the ashes and bring the Democrat Party back to an American party as opposed to a communist party, because that's really where it's at. They believe in Marxism. They're pushing Marxism through every government and academic institution into the indoctrinated lives of our kids down to the preschool level. Listen to me, what I just said. I'm an expert in warfare and national security and communism and Marxism and why it's wrong for the United States. We must change this government, these institutions. And yeah, you can't outlaw the Democrat Party, but we must encourage those that remain in the Democrat Party, and you know who you are, that still believe in America. I know men and women that graduated from West Point that were leaders in the United States Army and the United States Air Force, the Marine Corps, the U.S. Navy, and now whatever that thing is they call the missile guys that are the Space Force. Those leaders that are still in the Democrat Party, you got to bring your party back to a love of America and away from this craziness that believes America is wrong, was founded on the things that it wasn't founded on, and eradicate that from your political party before you'll be welcomed back as part of the governance of the United States of America. If you do not, your party's going to go the way of the Whigs, and that's what's going to happen.
I think it already is going the way of the Whigs. And I saw one of the smartest guys alive, Jeffrey Tucker, the other day said that he thinks the Democrat Party is going to go the way of the Whig Party, or they used to call it back in the day the Federalist Party. There's an irony to that, though. The irony is what came out of the death of the Federalists and the Whig Party.
The Republican Party.
The Democrats. No! Martin Van Buren, 1836.
I know, yeah. I know.
Okay, I want to talk about one more thing.
Yeah.
We're Colonel Maness here. How long do we go back? 15 years now, almost.
Yeah.
About 15
years.
There's something that also, and I said this to a guest earlier, so I'm just going to toot the horn again. There's something that is happening here that is important for you youngsters. And I say guys like me and him in our 60s have pivoted. We're still in the fight, right?
Yes. I'm not leaving the fight.
I think the pivot, and people may say you're trying to remain relevant. Well, tradition has always been relevant. We're both traditional guys. Yeah. What's happening here is the youth are coming our way, back towards tradition here. And what I want to say, and I say this to you, and then get your whatever commentary you'd like to add to it, it's important you have, how do you want to say it, Boys Club of America. You have big brothers here.
Yeah.
Come to us, use us, ask us questions. Don't make rash decisions about the things that you're thinking about doing. Say, hi, Colonel Maness, I'm thinking about doing this, or I might run for this, or I am in office and I'm trying. How can we solve this problem? There's wisdom and experience on our side of the table, and we're rare. You look at the National Reviewists, Ron. They're not with us. They're going to defend that old neocon Republican Party to the day they die.
Yeah.
They have not made the pivot, and they're not going to make the pivot.
That's right.
But you and I and others, Steve Bannon, another old warrior, still in the fight. So my point is there's experience here, and I hope they draw upon it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, absolutely. I would just remind you that the United States Constitution wouldn't exist without the efforts of a man named Benjamin Franklin, who was very old and considered decrepit when that document was finally signed and approved, and the country as we know it today came into being. So we're never out of the fight. Don't ever listen to someone that says, well, you've lost a political campaign, so you shouldn't run again. You're just going to become something like a perennial candidate. I've had all those terms used on me. Or like Mike said, you're just trying to stay relevant. Absolutely. What is relevant? What's relevant is our society surviving for my great-grandchildren when I'm dead and gone, and I'm working for that, and I'll continue to fight for that. And if the opportunity arises where I'm needed to do something like be in an elected office, I'm not going to turn it down lightly. If I turn it down or accept it lightly, I'm going to analyze it and take it to the bat and really look at it and see if I'm the right person at the right moment, like Donald Trump was the right person at the right moment twice now, and we've got this huge opportunity. So don't ignore old people and don't discount them. Beware of the people you call boomers. I'm an X generation guy. I'm right at the tail end of it. But also listen to the ones that are out there, like the Benjamin Franklins, that have the wisdom and the experience, that are not willing to step out of the political arena. Because as Teddy Roosevelt's poem said, it's the man in the arena that counts, not the critic that has never stepped into the arena. And that's why I fight. I use failure to make myself better, and I make my family better, make my community better, and my country better. And that's how you address failure. Ask Donald Trump that sometime if you get the chance, or Elon Musk. It's how you handle failure, then you turn it into a success that makes the difference in your life and in your country and your society. And that's the way you need to be.
Well,
that's where we're at.
Well, there's an old saying: how you handle adversity is more important than how you handle success.
Absolutely right.
Because you have to be able to fail. The only way you can learn anything.
Yeah.
I don't have much to add to that, other than with the experience also comes knowledge.
Yes.
We know things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know things that I had a young man who announced his candidacy for the presidency in 2048. He's 16 years old, sitting right there yesterday.
Oh, great.
Said he's running in 2048, and he started rambling on about how he was going to change foreign policy, he was going to sanction all these countries. And I said, tap your brakes. Hold on for a second. No one has ever told you this. Obviously, you have to target a sanction. You got to make sure you can't just sanctioning a country, because you'll kill people, actual real people.
Yeah.
That's who will bear the brunt of your sanction. The leader's going to be eating filet mignon every night and drinking 17th century French wine.
That's right.
Absolutely right. Be very careful with that. And he looked at me and was like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know that." We have a lot that we can add to the movement. And we stayed in broadcast, and I stayed in broadcast, and he stayed in politics. After you lost twice or three times?
2 Senate races and 1 state house race.
The state house race is the one where the Republican Party just buried you. They stole that seat. Well, it's great to see you here. I saw you in Detroit.
Yeah.
So here are we're like, all we need, Rob, is the modern day version of George Allen, the old Redskins football coach. Remember the Over the Hill gang? The Redskins had Billy Kilmer, who could barely walk.
Yeah, I remember.
They had that team. They were so old, and a couple of them had come out of retirement.
I remember that.
And George Allen was like, "Yeah, but they've got experience," and they made it to the playoffs. They almost made it to the Super Bowl.
They sure did.
So the Over the Hill gang, George Allen's Over the Hill gang. I used to call him a friend. I haven't talked to him in forever, but his son George Allen Jr. was a great guy. He was the governor of Virginia.
Yeah.
George and I. George was a regular guest when I was at Sirius XM. George Allen Jr., we need you to become your dad.
Yeah, exactly.
And lead the Over the Hill gang. There's another Over the Hiller right there. You see that guy right there?
Oh, yeah.
I interviewed Jonathan earlier today.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. The last year I was on Sirius XM, he was one of the fill-in hosts.
Yeah, that's right. That's how I know who he is, was through you.
Okay. Old warriors, old guys. Hey, I'm going to send you guys back to the studio and to the stage. I want to thank Colonel for coming by, as always. I can't get rid of this guy. I can't get rid of Evan Sayett. I can't get rid of Rob.
Hey, can I say something about my show?
Absolutely.
Find the Rob Maness Show live Monday through Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern. We've got a live audience that we bring in through a Spaces simulcast and take questions. It's a mixture of live TV broadcasting and talk radio on the conservative side, so it's a lot of fun. And you can find it on my X account at Rob Maness or all my other social media, or at Worldview Tube, my network, Worldview Tube.
Worldview Tube. When do I get on Worldview Tube?
When you're ready to come on, baby.
I'm ready. I had the Parler guy here yesterday. Did you know that Parler has
I didn't know
relaunched?
Parler existed.
No, it's relaunched.
Really?
And they have a live streaming app. And the CEO sat right here and goes, "Put the Mike Church Show on. I'll make sure it gets on Parler."
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Maybe
I'll have
YouTube.
to check in with them.
Yeah.
I'll check in with them.
Hey, always great visiting with you, old friend.
You too, brother.
All right, we'll start you back to the studio here. It's Mike Church live here. And I just keep thinking West. America Fest West, I'm going to call it. Charlie, I'm giving it to you. You can use it for free. America Fest West. We're live here, and we will return with more live great interviews here from the America Fest here on the Crusade Radio Network Live Talk Campaign Convention. An old geezer over the hill, gang radio and television the way it should be.
We're going to win.
We're going to win.
Thanks, brother.
We're going to win. So where are you heading back?